Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to today's podcast. It's Cody, Gotham's Caped Crusader, and we're keeping it geekly. Yes, this is your number one stop for all things geek culture, from comic books to video games and so much more. So before we even begin this podcast, I'd like to give a big shout out to everyone that tuned into our charity streams. We raised $125 for the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. So big thank you to everyone that made that possible. Really excited to dive into some brand new Marvel comics fresh off the press, and we're going to see what's buzzing around in the geek culture world. So without further hesitation, let's go ahead and just dive right in. So first thing is first, we are getting a Resident Evil 4 VR announcement as well as a release date. It looks like the Resident Evil 4 VR is going to not only drop October 21st, 2021, but it will be exclusive to the Oculus Quest 2. Now, going off this article, it looks like Resident Evil 4 VR supports both full motion movement and teleportation travel. One of the biggest changes to Resident Evil 4 VR is how the items are going to be managed. It looks like you'll now be able to draw your weapons and items directly from your virtual body. Now, with Resident Evil 4 releasing back in 2005, I am kind of excited to see how this remake fares out, and it does make me want to kind of pick up an Oculus Quest 2 to see how it plays. So on to other topics of news. It looks like Samsung wants to copy and paste a human brain onto a really big SSD. Yes, you heard that right. So it looks like your SSD has more uses than just storing pictures and videos on it. It looks like researchers from Harvard and Samsung are teaming up to see if they're able to store a mapping of the human brain on an SSD. Now, they're not looking to just drag a picture of the human brain onto the folder. It looks like they're mimicking the human brain's neuron structure with non-volatile memory structure. Now, here's a direct quote from Samsung themselves. The authors envision to create a memory chip that approximates the unique computing traits of the brain: low power, fast learning, adaptation to environment, and even anatomy and cognition that have been beyond the current reach of technology. Samsung has put in a press release, this is a scheme that directly downloads the brain's neuron connections onto a memory chip. And it looks like the ultimate neuromorphic chip would require 100 trillion or so memories, which is the company's term for just some of the memory technology to store 100 billion or so neurons of the human brain. Now, I have a feeling this is how iRobot began. I'm not exactly sure, but Samsung is doing some crazy things out there, and I'm excited to see where this leads. Now, on to our last piece of news. It looks like we were just introduced to a brand new Pokemon. Yes, you heard that right. The new Pokemon Legends Arceus trailer just revealed a new Pokemon that's going to have a rock bug type. It's going to be called Cleaver. Now, some things to point out really quick. The new footage did present a deeper dive in some of the game's menus and customization options while showing off new ways to catch the Pokemon. Now, towards the end of the clip, though, we were introduced to Cleaver, which is a new rock bug type Pokemon that is the final evolution of Scyther. And this is standing in at a whopping 5'11" and weighing in at a whopping 196.2 pounds. Now, growing up as a Pokemon fanatic, I always love me some brand new Pokemon news. And even though I may be over the age of 30, I am still excited to get my hands on this title. Now, that does wrap up this week in Geek, but stay tuned, guys. We got those Marvel comics coming fresh out the oven. Now, this is going to bring us to our first issue of the week, which is going to be The Death of Doctor Strange, issue number 1, written by Jed McKay with art being done by Lee Garbett. Now, this issue begins with Doctor Strange getting woken up out of bed by Bats, a deceased bloodhound who is persistently insisting that he get taken for a walk. And over the course of the next several panels, we see Doctor Strange begin his day, all while giving us an inner monologue about Crossraods. Surprisingly, we've seen that Doctor Strange has resumed his role as a surgeon. Not only that, though, he is a doctor at his own academy in New Orleans. But in between being a doctor and a teacher, he takes some time to help sever this connection between some random guy and the 7 sons of Sinbis. And he's starting to get the idea that something isn't right. Now, this is only further cemented by Doyle, who comes up to him, the son of Dormammu, and lets him know that something isn't right in the dark dimension. After taking on a demonic raiding party at his school, Doctor Strange calls it a day and begins to relax when he is disturbed by a knock at the door. And when he answers, he receives a knife to the chest, effectively killing him. I'll tell you what, I've read some Doctor Strange before, but I did not foresee him dying, even though the title of this says The Death of Doctor Strange. Now, this is going to lead us to our next issue of the week, which is going to be Moon Knight issue number 3, Legacy issue 203. Written by Jed McKay, with art being done by Alessandro Capiccio. Now, we begin this issue as we see Mark Spector in an emergency therapy session, and he's talking to his therapist about how there's an enemy out for him. She isn't surprised by that, but he acknowledges that that enemy is himself. Now, the mood quickly pivots, though, as we see him later on talking to Reese, and she wants to know why he let her and her friends live, but killed 2 other vampires. And then she pulls out a crescent knife and wants to know why he was trying to kill Ted last night. Now, a lot of people have heard about how brutal Moon Knight is, but this wasn't his doing, and he's out on the hunt to find out who it is. Now, this is short-lived, though, as he's interrupted by Dr. Batter, who believes Moon Knight is going soft, and he's here to correct him by any means possible. Now, vampires have always been the sworn enemy of the Hand of the Khonshu, and Moon Knight's out here with them under his protection. Now, these two go head-to-head in a brutal fashion, but Moon Knight doesn't walk away from this. And Dr. Badir is heading to his hideout to kill these vampires because he believes Moon Knight is too soft. Now, I'll tell you what, Hunter's Moon is one bad dude, and Moon Knight has his hands full with him, and I'm just left here wondering if his friends are going to be killed. Now, this is going to lead us to our last issue of the week, and this was Symbiote Spider-Man Crossroads issue number 3, written by Peter David, with art being done by Greg Land. Now, this issue begins on a rather interesting note as we see Black Cat with a knocked out Moondark pounding on Doctor Strange's door, insisting that he helps her because Spider-Man has been whisked off to a different dimension. And then this is when we see the Hulk and Spider-Man going head to head in the Crossroads dimension. As you know, the Hulk has been transported there by Doctor Strange himself to save humanity because the Hulk was just in all-out rage. So he's been stuck here for quite some time, wondering how he's going to kill the next person. Now, while he can easily dodge the Hulk, Spider-Man is trying to figure out where he is, what happened, and he's observing the Known Stone without really knowing what it is. Now, he gets backhanded while he's caught off guard and loses the stone, and this causes him to web sling to catch it. But upon returning it, it actually gets absorbed into his head, giving him the strongest symbiote suit to date. Now, in his strongest symbiote form to date, we see Spider-Man take on the Hulk, and these two go head to head in just all-out warfare. Now, will Doctor Strange and Black Cat be able to save the two before they kill one another? You guys are doing yourself a disservice if you don't pick up this issue and read it today. I'm telling you what, it is taking me by storm. With that being said, guys, that does wrap up our podcast for today. You could always catch me on my respective social media platforms at Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and so much more at JobForCody. As always, guys, if you liked today's video, be sure to throw me a like and leave a comment down below. Let me know your favorite book of the week. But most importantly, keep it geekly.